My name is Larry Curley, and I'm a member of the Navajo Nation. Ashi Ainsla. Tratnestan Eya Dashija. Trachini Eya Dashiche. Ashi Dashinala. And I am the Executive Director of the National Indian Council on Aging. I have been working now for the organization for the last 3 years, but I was one of the original founders of the National Indian Council on Aging in 1976, when I was still a young man. People have asked me, why have you been in the field of aging for so long, 40 years? What is it that is driving you? What is it that makes you keep going? I guess I see our elders as that walking encyclopedia. They know our culture, they know our language, they remember the history, they remember all the ceremonies. Elders represent the continued existence of Indian tribes. And if we can keep our elders alive longer, healthier, advocating on their behalf, we will make sure that Indian tribes exist 2,000, 3,000 years into the future. Taking a look at the Indian communities and tribal communities across the country is that I look at where we've been. The elderly population from the 1980s to now has almost tripled in that period of time. It's projected in the next two or three decades that will increase, almost double again. We decided, hey, we need to do this. It's called LTSS, Long-Term Services and Support. I know that this is a non-Indian name, but we're taking that non-Indian name and making it as Indian as possible. What is it that we can do? What is it that we can do to be responsive, to this whole larger critical question of survival? I keep repeating this because I think it's important that people understand that the LTSS program that was funded by ACL Administration for Community Living to establish this LTSS Resource Center. And what is it supposed to do? Well, they wanted us to do certain things and get an advisory council, set up a website, and develop some TA, training and technical assistance to a particular tribe, one particular tribe, face to face. Well, unfortunately, we couldn't do that. And why? Because COVID hit and all the tribes closed down, and we had to come up with a more creative, different way. Instead of doing one-on-one with one tribe who would benefit from NICOA, let's expand it. Let's do virtual training. Our elders today are baby boomers. They're more educated. They probably are living off-reservation or off-reservation communities. And I take a look at that population and I think, how have the needs changed from back in the 80s to now? And when I take a look at that population, there's still one concept that's still very strong in my view. We have in any population people who are well, who are in excellent shape, who really are very independent. That's one population. We have another population. They're not as well as that group, but they're okay. They're semi-independent. They are maybe have a few physical problems. So you have that middle group. Then you have that far group who need an extraordinary amount of care, who can't take care of themselves. And so in that group, What are the needs of these people who are well? What are the needs of the people who are not so well? How about the needs of the people who are extremely needing help? What are those needs? And how is it that we at the National Indian Council on Aging can respond to those three populations? We ask tribal leaders, what do you need the most in your community in each of these areas? In our survey, we found home health agencies. So we started looking for a home health agency. And it will be teaching people, this is what a home health agency is. These are the requirements. This is what you do. This is how you create it. And this is the kind of staff that you need. This is the kind of funds that you need to have available to start and run a successful home health agency. That's what we're doing for that middle population. That last population, when we ask the tribal leaders, what do you need? I was thinking they'll say nursing homes, but that came in a close second. But the number one priority out there is assisted living facilities. People who require institutionalization but are not as totally physically disabled to the point they require skilled nursing facilities. And again, the same thing. Here are the requirements. These are the staffing patterns, the cost factors, the design, the layout, the location, all of that you need to consider if you're really thinking about going and building an assisted living facility. And I think that this is where advocacy on your own behalf, feel empowered, be strong, think creatively, and be willing to challenge the system by having people learn how to creatively develop programs that fit their communities, that learning process they will pass on to the next generation. And that next generation will learn and adapt it even more, but keeping it tribal, far into the future. I'm hoping that as we move forward in this whole process, that we continue to add information that is helpful in this project, and has a variety of components in this particular program that we're looking at. And those are things that we think will be able to respond to each of these populations. And so we're constantly imagining, we're constantly looking 5, 10, 20 years down the line, down the road. I was young when I started out in this field, and now I'm eligible for the services I was advocating for when I was 24 years old. But it's been a fun ride. It's been something that I enjoy. I think we need more young people in this field, as researchers, as gerontologists, and as geriatricians in the field of medicine. We need our young people to be involved in this field. We're on the fighting end of survival, and we'll take this LTSS, make it our own, and we'll do it every way that we can to make sure that the well elderly, those who need help, and those who will need institutionalization are treated in an Indian way and looked at in an Indian way. And so for me, the LTSS concept embraces the continuum of care, which is taking care of the whole person, the mind, the spirit, the physical part, which is an Indian tradition.